All right, so we're diving into some pretty interesting stuff today.
Yeah.
The Rosicrucian law of assumption
Okay.
sounds kind of mystical,
Yeah, definitely has those elements to it.
but also maybe self-improvement and maybe even like manifestation.
You're on the right track.
I'm really curious to see how this all connects back to Rosicrucian principles.
Well, that's the core of it, really. The law of assumption is all about personal growth, but it's firmly rooted in those Rosicrucian ideas.
So the law of assumption, it's saying that we can manifest our desires just by like fully embodying our ideal selves.
Yeah, you could put it that way.
Whoa, okay, that's a powerful idea.
It is.
But how do we actually do that?
So the first step is to create a really clear picture in your mind of this ideal self,
Got it.
the you, that has everything you want.
Got it.
Happiness, skills, maybe even like specific surroundings.
So instead of like trying to change things outside of ourselves, we change ourselves first.
Exactly. The source material talks about it as stepping into this ideal identity, like really thinking, acting, and feeling as if it's already real.
So almost like an actor becoming the character.
Yeah, there are definitely parallels there.
I don't know. This is where it gets a little tricky for me
Okay. How so?
because it sounds a bit like we're just pretending to be someone we're not.
I see your point. It's important to remember that this isn't about pretending or imitating someone else.
Okay.
This is about uncovering the best possible version of yourself.
Right.
The source material uses a really good analogy. It compares it to an artist revealing a masterpiece that's hidden inside a block of marble.
I like that.
That masterpiece is your ideal self.
Okay, so it's not imitation. It's more like self-discovery and then stepping into that self that we've discovered.
Exactly. You're aligning your inner world with the reality that you want to create.
Powerful stuff.
And the more completely you can embody that ideal self, the more you'll start to see those changes reflected in your life.
But hold on a sec.
What's that?
This whole creating reality thing,
Yeah.
it's a bit mind-bending for me.
Understandable.
I mean, I get that this is rooted in Rosicrucian philosophy,
Yeah.
but is there any evidence or like examples to back this up?
Well, the source material talks about this unique human creative power.
Okay.
It suggests that our thoughts, especially when combined with this assumption of a new identity, can actually shape our experiences. Think about it this way. If you're constantly focused on negativity and limitations,
You're probably going to experience more of that.
exactly. But if you consistently embody confidence and success,
Then you're more likely to attract those things.
right, you're aligning your inner world with your desired outer world.
Interesting. So it's about shifting our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance and possibility.
You got it.
Okay, so let's say someone's like totally on board with this and wants to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Where do they even begin?
The first step, like we talked about, is to build that vivid image of your ideal self.
Okay.
Don't worry about making it perfect right away.
Right.
Start with the fundamentals.
Like what?
Someone who's healthy content and has a positive outlook. And then gradually you can add more specifics over time.
Okay, I see.
Think about things that really resonate with you.
Got it.
What are your passions? What kind of environment do you thrive in?
Makes sense.
What talents would you love to have? Build it out until you have this really clear picture of the best possible you.
Okay, cool. I'm starting to see how this works.
All right.
But there is one thing that makes me a little nervous.
Okay, what is it?
This whole idea of shaping reality,
Yeah,
it feels like there's a lot of potential for misuse there.
that's a valid concern, but the source material actually talks about that directly.
Oh, it does?
It emphasizes that this creative force can only be used for good.
Really?
It's like there's this built-in safeguard that keeps us from accidentally manifesting harm.
So it can only be used constructively.
Exactly. Any attempt to use it for something negative or destructive would basically backfire.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
It goes against the inherent flow of this creative energy.
That's good to know. It makes the whole thing feel less intimidating. And more like a tool for positive personal growth.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about becoming the best version of yourself and letting that shape your reality.
So we've talked about that creative power being for good,
Right.
but I'm still not quite sure how we actually put the law of assumption into practice.
Okay.
I mean, we have that picture of our ideal self,
Right.
but what do we do with it?
So that's where we get to the living as if part, which can be pretty tough.
Yeah.
The source material suggests things like visualization and affirmations
Okay.
to help solidify that mental picture.
So it's more than just thinking about it.
Right.
You have to like really feel it as if it's already happening.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just the mental aspect, too.
Okay.
It encourages you to take actions that align with that ideal self.
Interesting. So like what would that version of me be doing? How would they be interacting with the world?
Exactly. And then you start doing those things in your everyday life.
I see. So it's kind of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could say that, but with a much deeper, more intentional purpose.
Right. It's not just putting on a facade.
No, it's about becoming that person from the inside out.
Okay. So the more we align our actions and our mindset with that ideal,
The more it starts to become our reality.
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a process, right?
Of course. It's not like you just flip a switch and everything changes overnight.
Speaking of process, how long does this usually take?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The source material really stresses patience and persistence. It's
Mm.
not about forcing things to happen on our timeline.
Okay.
It's about trusting that the universe is working with us to make it happen.
Okay. That's a good point.
It's about surrendering to a higher power.
Right. But what about when things get tough?
Yeah.
Like, does the source material say anything about how to deal with setbacks or like doubts?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It acknowledges that challenges are going to come up,
Of course.
but it encourages us to look at them as opportunities for growth.
Instead of roadblocks.
Exactly. Your ideal self wouldn't just crumble under pressure, right? They'd use those challenges to learn and become even stronger.
So it's about adopting that same resilient mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even when things aren't going exactly how we planned.
Easier said than done sometimes.
I know. But the source material really stresses that setbacks are usually temporary.
Okay.
They're detours, not dead ends.
I like that.
It's about keeping the faith even when we don't see results right away.
It's so easy to get discouraged when we don't see instant gratification.
I know. It is. But it sounds like the key is to really trust that creative force.
Yeah.
And let it work its magic.
There's actually a beautiful passage in the source material about that.
Oh, yeah.
About surrendering to the divine timing of the universe.
Right. It's about letting go of control.
Yeah.
And trusting that everything is happening exactly as it should.
I love that. Okay, so they've talked about building this mental image
Right.
and aligning our actions with it.
Right.
But there's something else the source mentions.
What's that?
Modeling ourselves after someone who already has those qualities we want.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting one.
Is that like a crucial part of the process?
It's presented as a helpful tool,
Okay,
especially for people who are just starting out.
gotcha.
The idea is to find someone who really embodies the qualities you're aiming for.
Okay.
It could be like a historical figure or a mentor, even a character from a book.
All right.
You use them as a template,
Right.
not to copy their life exactly,
Of course.
but to see how those qualities actually play out in the real world.
So it's less about imitation and more about understanding how those qualities manifest.
Exactly. And then figuring out how you can cultivate them within yourself.
I see. What happens if our idea of our ideal self changes?
That's a great question.
Like, do we have to constantly be adjusting our approach?
Well, the source material acknowledges that our vision might change as we grow,
Makes sense.
and it says that's totally fine.
Oh, good.
It encourages us to be flexible and let our vision evolve naturally.
So it's a dynamic process.
Exactly. Not a rigid one. It's about constantly aligning yourself with the best version of you.
Recognizing that who we want to be might change over time.
That's a really good way to put it. The law of assumption isn't about creating a static, unchanging self.
Right.
It's about embracing the journey of growth and becoming...
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's not just about manifesting specific things.
No.
It's about an ongoing transformation.
Exactly. It's about becoming more of who we truly are. You've got it. It's about tapping into that infinite potential inside each of us.
Wow.
And using that power to create a life that's truly aligned with our purpose.
That's incredible. But how do we apply this to like concrete goals?
Mm.
Like say I want to manifest a new career or achieve some personal milestone.
Okay, so the source material outlines a pretty clear process.
Okay.
First, you define your desire really clearly.
Got it.
What does it look like? How does it feel? Really immerse yourself in the experience of already having it.
Okay.
And then you start taking steps.
Okay.
Even small ones that align with that reality. Act as if it's already true.
Even if it's not quite there yet.
Exactly. It's like planting a seed and then taking care of it.
I love that analogy.
Knowing that with enough time and attention, it will blossom into what you envision.
So beautiful. It highlights the importance of intention, but also action.
Right. It's not enough to just wish for things.
We have to actually take steps to nurture those desires.
Exactly. And align ourselves with their manifestation.
So it's about taking action from a place of deep inner knowing.
Yes. and trusting that the universe will meet us halfway.
Okay, but that can be hard.
I know, I know.
Surrendering control is not easy for
Well, the source material actually offers some advice on that.
Oh, it does?
It suggests things like meditation and mindfulness
Okay.
to quiet the mind and connect with that inner knowing.
Right.
It also talks about the power of gratitude,
Interesting.
focusing on what you already have instead of what you're lacking.
So it's about shifting our energy.
Exactly, and creating a more receptive state for receiving what you want.
That makes a lot of sense. When we're grateful for what we have, we open ourselves up to more.
Exactly. It's about cultivating an abundance mindset.
Instead of a scarcity mindset.
Right. It's about shifting your focus from lack and longing to appreciation and receptivity.
I see.
And that creates a powerful magnetic field that attracts the things you desire.
We're not just sitting around waiting for things to happen.
No, not at all.
Right.
We're active participants in shaping our reality.
Through our thoughts.
Yes.
Our actions.
Yes.
And even our emotional state.
Absolutely. The law of assumption is all about recognizing that power.
Wow. This is really powerful stuff. It really flips the script on how we think about life.
It does. It's about becoming conscious creators of our own experience.
I'm really starting to get it now.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's not about magic or wishful thinking.
No, it's not.
It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach life
Exactly.
and how we shape our own reality.
You've got it.
Wow, this has been a really eye-opening conversation.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff.
It's incredible to think that we might have so much more control over our lives
Right.
than we realize.
Yeah.
Like this idea that we're not just bystanders.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually active participants in shaping our reality.
Oh, it's a big shift in how we see things.
Yeah, it's super empowering.
The law of assumption really challenges us to step up
Mm.
and take ownership of our lives.
You know, I am curious about something.
Okay, what is it?
The source material talks a lot about letting go of doubts and fears,
Right.
but that's way easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely.
Are there any practical tips on how to actually get over those mental hurdles?
For sure. The source material says that doubt and fear are basically vibrations
Okay.
that clash with the reality we're trying to create. When we let those negative emotions take over,
Yeah.
actually create resistance
Mm.
and make it harder to manifest what we want.
So it's not about ignoring those feelings. It's
Right.
more about shifting our focus to something more positive.
Exactly. It's about cultivating this unwavering faith in the power of our own creative consciousness.
Wow.
One technique the source suggests is replacing those doubtful thoughts with positive affirmations.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of dwelling on what could go wrong,
Yeah.
you focus on what you want
Okay.
and affirm it like it's already happening.
Like we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Living as if.
Right. It's like retraining your mind to focus on the good stuff
Mm-hmm.
and align your energy with your desired outcome.
This is so powerful. It's like we can choose which thoughts to give power to.
Exactly. We're not our thoughts. We're the observer of our thoughts.
Right.
And that awareness gives us the freedom to choose.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
It's easy to get carried away by negativity,
totally.
especially when things are tough.
Yeah, for sure. But knowing that we have a choice
Mm-hmm.
in what we focus on,
Right.
that's huge.
It really is. It's about taking control of that inner world and making it match the outer world we want.
You know, the source material mentions something interesting about that.
It says that our outer world is always a reflection of our inner world.
That's so true.
So if we change our internal state,
Mm-hmm.
our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions,
Then we can actually change our reality.
this deep dive has been amazing. It's really changed my
But
perspective.
glad to hear that.
Like it's possible to create a reality we desire.
It is.
Yeah.
And it all starts with that shift in mindset.
Moving away from feeling like a victim
Right.
and realizing that we're actually co-creators.
Exactly. We have the power to shape our own lives.
This has given me a lot to think about,
Me too.
and I can't wait to try out these principles.
That's great. Go for it.
See what happens.
Remember to approach it with curiosity and an open mind
Okay.
and trust the process.
Thank you so much for walking us through this.
You're very welcome.
It's been truly eye-opening.
Well, I'm glad you found it valuable.
And to everyone listening,
Yes.
thanks for joining us
We'll see you next time.
on our deep dive into the unknown.
Keep exploring.